Hi guys, today we're talking about the sewing challenge, and you have 4 things that you have to do before you can do a plushie or a pillow. And we're going to talk about what a plushie is. It's kind of like a doll. Anyways, we're going to go over how to thread a needle, tie a knot, sew a button, and sew a knot. Now, you have to do all these things and get them checked off by me before I will let you do a pillow. First thing you need to do is find your needle. In the drawer back there, we have all of our needles in a little pillow like this. Some friends did not take their strings off when they got done, but they shouldn't have a string on them. Most of these are really big needles and they're tapestry needles. They are a little pokey, but they shouldn't hurt you. So they're a little larger than normal sewing needles. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do to thread a needle is we're going to use embroidery floss. Embroidery floss looks like this. Okay? It's usually used for embroidery, which is like, it's kind of like drawing with string, pretty much. So we're going to stitch with it because it's a little thicker and easier than sewing string. Okay? So what you're going to do is, I'm going to let you pick out one today, and I want you to find the end. They come in these little papers wrapped around them. Don't take the paper off because it makes it untangle. Just find the end, and I want you to pull it out, and you'll have to hold it kind of like this and pinch this part and pull out your thread. And I pulled out kind of like a really long piece. I'm spreading my arms way out. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it. Now someone else can use that, the rest of that. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the needle, and I'm going to show you the threading part. So I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see. So this is threading a needle. I have an eye, and then I have the pokey part. So the eye is where the thread goes through. I'm going to take this, pinch it as close to my fingers as possible, and I'm going to push it through the eye and grab it on the other side and pull. So, most of the time when we sew, we are going to put the needle in the middle. A lot of sewers, we're doubling it up. A lot of sewers don't double up. They just sew and without doubling. But we are going to double because this is first time for sewing for a lot of us. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the needle in the middle, and I'm grabbing the two ends and putting the two ends together. Okay? Now, your next part is you have to tie a knot. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You have to do it 5 times. Now, you don't have to do it 5 times on this one, but I want you to practice it at least 5 times. So if you want to use a scrap piece and try it with a scrap piece that you just find in the drawer, that would be fine too. So what I'm going to do is, the easiest way I think is to grab the end. I'll move these out of the way so you can see. Grab the end, and you're going to take, I always take 2 fingers and wrap it around them, and then pull it off, and it makes a little loop. Okay? Then after I have my little loop, see that loop? You're going to take the ends and go under and through. Then you're going to pull. And that's your knot right there. Okay? So, sometimes when you're using, you have to double your knot. But I think for felt, which is what we're going to be using, you won't need to double your knot. Okay? Doubling your knot means you just do it 2 times. So you go around again, put it through, and then you try to make sure the knots are on top of each other. The reason you do this is to make the knot bigger. Then it makes that knot really big. Okay? Next thing, it says you need to sew a button. So you need to get a scrap. I've got my needle threaded. I've got a knot. I got some scrap felt. We're using felt. This is just something I pulled out of the felt drawer. You don't have to use felt. You can use anything in the scrap drawers over there. Okay? So you're going to sew a button, and I'm going to show you running stitch. So first thing you're going to do is start from the bottom. I'm going to make this the bottom because it's yucky and it has a mark on it. We want to start on the bottom always. Pull our needle up and through, pull it all the way. The knot is hidden on the bottom. Then a running stitch goes like this, down, don't let it get tangled, and then up. You're like jumping in, like a dolphin jumping down and up in the water. So when I come through the back, I'm pushing it up just a little ways from the first one. Pull. That's what the back looks like. Make sure that, oops, that got stuck in my loop, that it's pulled tight. You don't want a big tail hanging. Okay, now I'm going back down through the water like a dolphin. Notice how they're close together. You don't want really big faraway stitches, because then when you're making something and you want to stuff it, it's like a pillow, all the stuffing will fall out. You want your stitches to be close together. Now I'm going to the back and the bottom, pushing it up and through. And this needle is not very sharp, so I can kind of feel with my fingers. Oh, I really don't like where that is, so I'm going to pull it back, move it over just a little bit, and that's okay. You can do that. It's easier to undo it while the needle's still in it than undo it when you get to this point. Okay? So next I'm going to show you how to sew on a button. So here's my button. Some buttons have 2 holes, some have 4 holes. First thing you're going to do is you want it to be on the front. So this is the front. So I'm going to go through the back of the button, pull. Then I'm going to do just like a running stitch through the button. So I'm going down, and I'm turning it to the back, pulling it through. I would do a button at least 2 times. So you're going to come back up through the bottom, like so, push it through, pull, go back down through. Now the ones that have 4 holes, you'll just do a stitch diagonally like an X. Okay, now I've got my button on. So that's your number 3 thing. I can sew a button. So you're going to have to show me this. Last is I can sew a knot. So to sew a knot, you go to the back. You have to have thread left. So some kids like to sew all the way to here. You cannot do that, or you can't tie a knot. You need to leave a little bit of a tail. So when you get to here, you're going to have to stop so we can tie a knot. I'm going to go ahead and show you on the back how to tie the knot. You don't want to tie the knot on the front because you don't want people to see it. So I'm going to go under a stitch. Doesn't matter. Usually the one closest to where you stopped. Pull. Not fast, real slow. And then leave a loop. Then you're going to go back through the loop. Kind of like when we tied the knot at the beginning around our fingers. And then you just pull it. And now you have a knot, and now you can cut. Sometimes we like to do that 2 times. Double knots always help if you're worried about it coming undone. So you can do it 2 times if you don't think it's going to stay. Just like that. Now I'm going to cut it. Now, there's my button. Now I still have more thread on here, so I'm going to show you the whip stitch. I'm going to go ahead and tie my knot again. Go around my 2 fingers, make my loop, take my loop, go under and through, pull, and there's my knot. Then I'm going to go to the other end where the needle is, whip stitch. Start on the back, go through the back, pull, and then you're going to go around the side. Whip stitch is for side stitching. Around the side, like this. This is whip stitch. You're kind of whipping it around the side. Remember again, not to put them too far away from each other, or you can, your stuffing might fall out. So when you start to make your pillow or your plushie or whatever it is you want to make, you're going to have to decide, are you going to do running stitch, or when you sew it together, you're going to do whip stitch. And I also will show you cross stitch later. Oops, I'm going to wiggle that one. Okay, so again, to make a knot, go to the back, go under, go through the loop, and pull. Just like that. Now I'm going to cut it, and I have a whip stitch. So, whip stitch is not on here, and running stitch is on here, but you need to be able to do both of those also. But to pass your challenge, you need to show me, take a picture with Seesaw, that you can do threading a needle, tying a knot, sewing a button, and sewing a knot. So you're going to have to show me that you can do this, show me the front and the back. So take 2 pictures. Okay? And then this you can keep or you can put it back in the scrap. It's up to you. That's all, guys.